The rain had not let up in hours, casting a moody haze over Port Charles. At the hospital, Sasha Gilmore stood by the window in the waiting room, arms wrapped around herself. The day had started with a promise of healing and ended in bloodshed. Everything began unraveling after a fundraiser held at the Metro Court, a benefit aimed at expanding mental health services for children, hosted by none other than Michael Corinthos. Sasha, who had recently reconnected with her inner strength and found solace in mentoring Daisy Kwan, was beaming with pride. Daisy had given a heart-wrenching speech about redemption and second chances, dedicating her recovery to the people who never gave up on her, Sasha at the forefront. But behind the scenes, a different kind of drama had been brewing. While most guests had moved to the bar for cocktails, Sasha and Daisy stayed behind to clean up. Alone in the back room, Daisy was startled by a familiar voice, one she hoped she would never hear again. Jared Kenner, her former cult recruiter and tormentor, had slipped in unnoticed. His eyes were glassy, his words slurred, but his intentions were razor-sharp, literally. He pulled out a knife and accused Daisy of ruining everything. "You think you can erase your past with a few tears and a microphone?" he hissed. "You think Michael Corinthos and his charity dollars make you untouchable?" Daisy froze, paralyzed with fear. Sasha, returning from grabbing more boxes, heard the commotion and rushed in. What happened next would shake the foundations of Port Charles. Jared lunged toward Daisy, the blade aimed at her chest. Without hesitation, Sasha screamed and dove in front of her, catching the knife across her ribs. The scream that followed was bone-chilling. Blood seeped through her dress as she collapsed to the ground. Jared ran, leaving the knife behind, as Daisy crumpled beside Sasha, sobbing and shaking. Security and EMTs stormed in minutes later, but time slowed for Daisy. Sasha's breathing was shallow, her skin turning pale. "You're okay," Daisy whispered desperately. "You saved me." "Why did you do that?" Sasha's eyes fluttered open for a second. "Because you deserve to live free," she whispered before blacking out. The news of Sasha's stabbing reached Michael as he was finishing a press interview. At first, he thought it was a misunderstanding. Sasha had just texted him a thumbs-up emoji. It had to be a mistake. But it wasn't. By the time he arrived at the hospital, Sasha was in surgery, and Daisy was sobbing in Willow's arms. "What the hell happened?" Michael demanded. Daisy could barely speak. "It was Jared. He tried to kill me. Sasha saved me." Michael's blood ran cold. Jared Kenner had been on his radar months ago. His connection to the cult and Christina's past made him a dangerous threat. But now he had taken it one step too far. Willow tried to calm Michael, but he was already dialing Brick and Sunny. "Find him," Michael said with an icy calm. "I don't care what it takes." In the operating room, Sasha clung to life. The stab wound had pierced dangerously close to her lung. As doctors worked tirelessly to save her, memories flooded her subconscious. She saw Liam, her son, smiling in a garden. She saw Brando, arms outstretched, waiting for her. But then Daisy's terrified face cut through it all. Sasha couldn't go yet. Not when Daisy needed her. Not when Michael might blame himself. She fought harder, every heartbeat echoing a name: Michael. News of the attack spread like wildfire. Nina, Alexis, and even Valentine gathered at the hospital. Ava arrived shortly after, stunned and speechless, her thoughts drifting to the Sasha she once despised but had come to admire. Daisy wanted to leave, afraid her presence was a reminder of what had happened. But Willow stopped her. "She saved you because she believed in your future," Willow said. "Don't run from that." Meanwhile, Michael stepped out for a call that would change the game. The charity Sasha had helped him build, the Aurora Mental Health Initiative, was in flux. Drew had taken a step back, and with Sasha incapacitated, the entire program risked being shelved. But Michael had other plans. Michael called a press conference the very next day. Looking composed but visibly distressed, he stood before the press and community leaders of Port Charles. "My name is Michael Corinthos. I'm not here as the CEO of Yelq or the co-founder of Aurora. I'm here as a man whose life was saved by a woman who believes in redemption. He paused, glancing at a photo of Sasha displayed beside the podium. Sasha Gilmore nearly died protecting someone who many had already written off. That tells me that this project, the one she's poured her soul into, is worth fighting for. So I'm stepping forward not just as a contributor, but as the sole patron of the Sasha Gilmore Foundation for Mental Health and Recovery. Applause erupted. Reporters scrambled to update their headlines. The board of Aurora nodded in support. Even Ned, skeptical until that moment, offered a rare thumbs up. Behind the scenes, Brick tracked Jared to a safe house outside Port Charles. Jason offered to go, but Michael stopped him. "I'll go," he said. "I need to see him." Jason was hesitant, but ultimately agreed, joining Michael with Sonny's men for backup. What Michael did not expect was to find Jared already bloodied and bound, courtesy of Christina, who had followed a tip from Harmony's old files. She had faced off with Jared and knocked him unconscious with a tire iron. Michael looked down at Jared, breathing heavily on the floor. "I should let Jason deal with you," Michael said, voice trembling. "But I won't. You're going to prison, Jared. For Daisy. For Christina. For Sasha." As the Peace PD took Jared into custody, a weight lifted from Michael's chest. 3 days after surgery, Sasha opened her eyes. The first face she saw was Michael's. "I thought I lost you," he whispered, taking her hand. "I told you I'm not that easy to get rid of," Sasha croaked, a weak smile breaking through. "You saved Daisy," he said. "And I made you a promise while you were asleep." "What kind of promise?" Michael held up a tablet and showed her the new logo, the Sasha Gilmore Foundation. Her eyes welled with tears. "Michael, you didn't have to." "I did," he interrupted gently, "because you gave everything. Now it's time the world knows what that means." Sasha's heroism sparked a ripple effect. Donations poured in from across the country. Oprah sent a handwritten note. Portia offered to volunteer her services. Even Cyrus Renaud, from behind bars, sent a cryptic message praising Sasha's courage, a move that unsettled Jordan and Taggart. At the Foundation's first open event, Sasha appeared in a wheelchair, flanked by Michael and Daisy. The crowd stood in silence as she spoke. "I'm not a hero," she said. "I'm someone who's made mistakes. But every day, I try to make choices that bring light instead of darkness. If my pain can help someone else find peace, then every scar I carry was worth it." The applause was deafening. But no story in Port Charles ends neatly. One night, as Sasha returned home, she found an envelope slid under her door. Inside was a photo of her and Daisy at the Metro Court event, with red ink scrawled across it. "You should have let her die." Sasha dropped the envelope, trembling. Michael, upon seeing it, immediately increased her security. But he also knew this wasn't over. Jared may have been caught, but someone else, someone darker, was still out there. And their war had just begun. Daisy's journey. Daisy, now working full-time at the Foundation, begins therapy training. But whispers from her past continue to haunt her. Is there another Jared-type figure waiting in the shadows? Michael's transformation. Stepping into this new philanthropic role changes Michael. He becomes more aggressive in protecting Sasha and Daisy, even to the point of worrying Willow. Willow's concern. Willow starts feeling distant from Michael as he throws himself into Sasha's world. A wedge begins forming, slowly and silently. Nina's dilemma. Nina's guilt over her past cruelty towards Sasha resurfaces, prompting her to make a dangerous alliance to protect her granddaughter from future threats. Sasha's next chapter. Stronger than ever, Sasha is no longer just a survivor. She's a symbol. But with that power comes danger. A new enemy has been watching, and they plan to strike where it hurts the most. In a city like Port Charles, love and violence often dance together. Sasha's selfless act wasn't just a sacrifice, it was a turning point. And as Michael rises to a new kind of power and shadows begin to gather again, one thing is certain. The fight for redemption never ends. And neither does the danger.